Yeah, YouTubers, Tasman here, bringing you. Well, I guess technically this is a new, not another, but an episode of Foundry from the ground up, Players Edition, I guess. I don't know. I'll have to come up with a fancy name for it, but Players Edition seems to work okay. So I have a series basically where I'm teaching a game master everything, the ins and outs of Foundry VTT. However, as a player, you don't need to know all that stuff. So this will probably be a shorter series. Not a lot shorter because there's a lot to learn about Foundry. But hopefully this will take you from the ground of your game master just sent you a link and gave you a time and said the table will be up, join it. And hopefully they've done everything on their end. They've set you up an account basically, and they've done all the forwarding of ports and anything else. All that you don't have to worry about, and that's kind of stuff that's in the other series. So in this one, we're going to talk more about, as a player, what do I see? What do I do? What things can I do? So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to assume you just got an email from your GM saying, hey, come join the table. We got it set up. We're ready for you. And they send you a link that kind of looks something like, a web page. So you just go to your favorite browser. I think Chrome is probably one of the better ones. I haven't tested it really in Edge or Firefox or Opera or any of those others, but you're welcome to try it. If it runs into issues, go to Chrome. I think that's kind of the engine it's using is actually a Chrome engine from what I understand. So once you get your link, you'll enter it in here and you will get a page that looks like this. Not that necessarily, that's because I have the resolution set low so that you can see the most in a larger screen. If I set my resolution really high, everything will be tiny. So ignore that. Any of those pop-ups that say the screen's not big enough. I have it set to 1280 by 720, which is very small. So like I said, you won't get that. Anyway, so when you connect, you will get a screen like this. It usually will take you to join automatically, or game, I think, is another one, but that automatically forces you to join. So this is the game. You can see if you've watched my other series, the world we created, it's called Bare Bones, and there will be information here if they want that says when the next session is, the time, how many players are connected, out of how many. If you want to return setup, you're going to have to enter an administrator password, and then you can click that. But basically, all as a player you will have to do, and of course over here I forgot, is your description, anything that they put in. But as a player, all you have to do is come down here, find your name, and type in your password. PASSWORD. Good password, right? And boom, we're in the game. We do not need Chrome to remember our password. Oh, I forgot it. This does that. This is the VM that's making it look weird here. Can't remember what my options were. So as you can see, once we get this. So the first thing you'll be greeted with is basically this window right here saying what your player avatar looks like. If you have an image that you can set as your player avatar, you can just click on that. Or does it? No, actually it uses your character. Now we don't actually have a character here. I probably should have just created one. Let's go grab one really quick just so you can see what's available. I forgot to add that guy there. Let's go to the compendium. We'll just go grab a starter hero. Go back to the actors, and let's just grab one of them. Doesn't matter. Let's do a cleric. Just throw them in there. All right, you won't have to do that. Your GM will. Let's go back. Oh, whoops, that's not in this window. There we go. Go back here, and if we go back in here now, if we look, oh, I didn't set up permissions. This is stuff I need to work on the other one. I forgot to do this part. So I'm going to quickly just ignore this part just for a second. Maybe I'll even block it out. We're going to say players owner, and we're going to say Derby Fam is the owner. Oh, this is all players. We don't want that. So Derby Fam's the owner. Go ahead and set that to none. Save changes. That's all we care about there. All right. So now when we come in here, if we down here is where it shows all the players connected. We can click on our name, right click, go to user configuration, and you'll see we actually now have that character that we can have set for us. So we can do that. We can choose a color. This color is going to refer to, when you roll dice. If you don't set a custom color, it will basically be this color. When you lay down templates, it will be this color. The ghost image of where your mouse cursor is that everyone sees will also be this color. So this is basically going to be your color. We're going to save configuration, and now you can see that Derby Fam is being Accra right there. So the other thing, we have a couple modules installed on here, which is why you see all these little dice down here. Normally these would not be there. This is called Dice Tray. It just makes it so you can actually come in here if you want and click, I need to roll 46, right click to go back down, hit roll like if I'm doing my character. If I want to drop the lowest, I would say KH3, I believe, and that will keep the highest 3. And there you go, you can see we dropped the 1 and we kept the 3, right? You could also do that another way by typing drop lowest DL and say 1. Should do the same thing basically. So there you go, we dropped the 1 again. We'll talk about dice rolls and stuff in a little bit. So this is one of the modules. It lets you just click on these to add dice. You can left click to increase. So we have 2, now we have 3. We can right click to decrease. If we have a modifier, we can, well, let's throw that in. If we have a modifier, we can click plus to go up. We can click minus. We can also just put this in, and you'll see it automatically does it. If we're rolling, say, D20s for advantage, disadvantage, let's go ahead and set that to 0. We would click on the that's a D12, a D20, and we could say advantage. This will roll 2 D20s, as you can see. Roll 2 D20, keep high, which is the advantage. Disadvantage is just the opposite. It keeps the lowest. So if we want advantage, we roll it, and there we go. It's going to keep the 16. If we do disadvantage, we have to select the die first. You'll see it keeps the low one, which is sad because that's a nat 20. All right, so that is the dice tray. However, there is one other thing to it. If you click on the little dice, normally in a normal game, this will not be able to be clicked on. It's just an icon. But if we click on that, we actually get a little dice calculator where we can do a lot of the same stuff, but we can also do some more advanced stuff. So we could say maybe like roll a d20 plus maybe a d4 or something, parenthesis d4. Oops, I forgot to put the other parenthesis. It doesn't want to put that other parenthesis. Do I have to do that? I'm not quite sure why it won't put the other parenthesis. We'll manually put it. So, oh, maybe because I needed to like put a 1 in there or something. So 1d4, or I wonder if you highlight it. So what this would do is give us a modifier of a d4. So now if we hit roll, you'll see that we get the d20 plus a d4 as the other roll. So we can't quite do that down here. Because if we, well, I guess we kind of could. There's other things you couldn't, because we could always do a D20 plus a D4, and it kind of inverts it, but it's going to do the same thing. All right, so that is the Dice So Nice. Now, the dice tray is basically that and this little guy right here. Now, the other thing you saw when we rolled, generally when you type /R or /roll in here and do, say, 10D20, you don't get these fancy dice on the screen, which you'll notice are the color that we selected. So if we go over here to our setup, we have some options here. We have configure settings. We can view active modules. We cannot disable or enable. Now this is kind of a nice thing, because all the modules that the GM actually has for you will automatically be pushed to you. So you can actually already have Dice So Nice and Dice Tray. We cannot add anything. If we want more information on them, actually I guess that's disabled too. Normally you can click on this in the GM screen and it will give you like the links of their GitHub or GitLab page and stuff like that. So anyway, here it's basically just so you can see what modules you have available. The configure settings will go into the control reference. This is a really handy thing. This will tell you all shortcut keys you can use for the game. You can open, close windows, you can escape. You can toggle the menu by hitting escape. You can toggle game pause by hitting space. Now, if the GM is pausing the game, you can't do that, which is probably why it's kind of a reddish pinkish color. We have a hotbar down here. If we hit 1 through 0, we can do that. We can also we have a total of 5 sets of those hotbars. You can look here and say, okay, selecting object, left click, add or remove selected objects, shift left click, so on and so forth. So you can get all the different things that you can do shortcut key wise in the game in this window. I have to wet my throat. It's getting really dry. Sorry. All right. You can also do view documentation. This will pop up a window within your thing and take you basically to the Foundry VTT knowledge page, knowledge base. So, I mean, you can log in, whatever. But here you can see we can get all the information in the knowledge base as far as, you know, installation guide, tutorial, player orientation, which is kind of what we're doing right now. We can look at ambient sounds, canvas layers, all this stuff. A lot of it's going to be more than you really even care about, but it's good to know. It talks about the dice modifiers, advanced dice rolling, basic dice, because you can do some pretty cool stuff with the dice. And then, of course, if we click on this one, this will take you to another window that's within it that is a community page of the community wiki, what they're maintaining and stuff. You can usually get some pretty good information there. So let's go look at the configure settings a little bit. So you can go through these. Everything is pretty self-explanatory. You know, disable the canvas. The canvas, which provides visual representation of the virtual tabletop, can be disabled, allowed for low-end machines to use a subset of software features. So you can disable the canvas, which is the entire screen. I think it'll mostly disable some of the interactive things about it and kind of make it more like a static web page. You can make it so chat bubbles pop up and stuff. This is, if you have this checked, when someone talks, the screen will pan up and over to the player that's talking. You can enable token vision animations, light source animations, lots and lots of stuff. When you're done, you'll hit save changes and it'll basically do an F5 reset, basically do a refresh on your web page. The system settings, these are settings right now. There are none other than collapse item cards in chat. So that means when there's a big item card of something, it will start it as default. You can click on it to expand it. And then of course we have our module settings. Dice Tray really doesn't have any settings that you can control, but Dice So Nice does. We can click on this My Dice Settings, And here you can choose your color. If you want to do a theme, you can actually come down here and say, I would like to do a theme. Now, if you do a theme, it will disable all these, which we found out in my other one. I kind of knew it, but I forgot it at the same time. So we choose radiant, and now you'll see we have a nice radiant color dice for when we're doing radiant damage or something. We have fire. We have all our different damage types. Poisons, kind of a purpley color. Smoky and glass. We have air, acid, necrotic. You know, it's kind of a red. If you look close, you can see skulls. And a cool thing you can do is no matter what dice you actually have, you can force the theme to be what you want. So let's say we wanted to do rainbow, right? We want to do something like this. What we can do is when we have our dice set to roll, at the very end, if we put brackets, an open, is this not going to let me type a bracket? It might not. Is it because it's really big? I'm not sure. Let's do this. There's a bracket. I think it's because we were at the end of the screen. So if we do a bracket and say RAINBOW, and then a closed bracket, whoops, that's not the bracket, do that. Now when we hit roll, you'll actually see instead of being our default color, oh, that didn't quite work like I expected it. Maybe you can't do it with so many. Let's try and do maybe just 2 dice. Let's do, oh, I didn't hit save. That's why. So let's try this again. Although, no, I wouldn't have to hit save. Let's try this again. Let's just do maybe a couple of those like that. And then do bracket RAIN. It could also be that it's only the damage types. No, that worked. So you can do that. Okay. So if you think, oh well, I want to do rainbow damage, I guess, or something, you can do that. If you want to keep your custom color, you just do custom here, and that will leave it there. When we hit save, even though those are a custom color where we could do something like that, you'll see it's that color. However, if we do our other one again, you'll see it actually does rainbow. And then, of course, like we were looking at the other ones, let's say we want to do /roll or R for short. And let's say we're going to do 4D12 necrotic. NEC necrotic. Like so. This should be kind of those red dice, right? Or if we do poison or whatever. So you can actually go in and, leave your default there. We can leave on the extra there. So anyway, there's that. We have our default presets for the faces. So we have spectrum here, which will kind of give this look to your dice. That makes the D6s kind of hard to read for me anyway. We could use the Foundry VTT default, which is kind of what was already there. We could do dots like regular dice. So that gives us the 6-sided dice with dots. We could do black dots, which once again only affects those ones. So those are some of the presets. Down here we can kind of customize what we want it to be. So these are our colors. We have the dice color. We change the outline color. Like if we want to kind of have a magenta, which will kind of probably be an okay complement to this blue, the teal. Oh, that was the outline color on the numbers. So they're still technically, you can't see them very well, but I think they're still black. The edge color was what I thought we were actually doing. So if we do this, Control C, actually let's do Control C there, Control V there, and Control C, Control V, and then, do I have to hit Enter? No. I guess I have to do it in here. I thought I could do it there, but wait. No, it didn't do it. All right, so do 255, 0 tab 255, and go ahead and do that. And then this one, what numbers are you? 10, 240, 236, 10, 240, 236, 10, 240, 230. Okay, so we could do 10, 240, 236, and there's that one. So now you'll see, this is kind of what I was actually thinking we were going to do, is it'll color the edges. So you can do that. Then we also can change the texture and stuff. So if we click on this the texture, we could kind of make it look fiery. So you can kind of see we have a slight fire texture in there, which is pretty cool. Or we could do, that's the necrotic one we saw. We do ice, which kind of has this shine to it, which is kind of nice. I thought, is this the one I'm thinking of? We do clouds transparent. So now they're kind of cloudy and transparent. We can also change the material so that it's transparent metal, which is kind of interesting. The material is mostly how it's going to be reflective. Ignore those sounds. So there's a nice chrome one, a really high shine on that. Makes it really, really hard to read. And then, of course, we can change the font, make it a thicker font, such as that, making it, once again, easier to read. That is kind of cool, actually. Once you're done, you just go ahead and hit save, and now that will be your new dice. So if we go, let's roll one of each. And now you'll see they come out and they look all cloudy and chrome at the same time. Trying to think. I think that's kind of what I wanted to do. When you first get greeted here, you'll actually see that it tries getting you to go to My Dice Settings, which is the exact same as going to the cogs, clicking on Module Settings, and Dice So Nice. So that's kind of what we already did. We went to cogs, we did Configure Settings, Module Settings, and the My Dice Settings is where we went. So that just gives you a quick way of doing it. We can go ahead. I think, I'm trying to think if that is everything I wanted to cover in this. So we're about 22 minutes, so that's actually a good length. I think that is good. The big thing is that, you know, this is where you can view the active modules, and this is where you can do the configuration of the modules. We'll talk about these other areas in following episodes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Check out my Discord and my other channels. Don't forget to tell other people about my channel. Check it out. If they like what they see, they can sub. And, you know, we'll just grow the channel. Can't hurt. It's free. And that's it. So until next time, my friends, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.